Start with you, Cindy, on this question. How do you plan on promoting more open communication and transparency in the town?
So this past year, we started out really strong this past year. The select board historically has had certain policies and procedures that we've had in place. And I plan to talk about this a little bit during my closing statement. This past year, with the past election, we lost two very seasoned members of the board who had a lot of historical knowledge about not only the town, but also the way our board operated. And what came to light this year was that protocols and policies that we had previously relied on, that it was like an understanding, and, you know, a process that we would just go through. We lost that. And so now it became down to, well, where is that policy? Why are we making that decision? Why isn't that in writing? And so I realized that, you know, one of my goals this year was going through the select board regulations and policies, the town code, getting rid of obsolete bylaws and things like that. But the administrative policies for the select board need to be refined. We need to reconnect. We need to reestablish what was unwritten before to now be written protocol and policy to improve the flow of communication, not only between the board, but the town administrator as well as the town employees. Every year we do a goal exercise after the election. This past year, we actually sat with the town employees, and they all presented their goals. We presented our goals. We compared them to the master plan, and we identified commonalities. And together, if everything's working well, we're supposed to be operating in unison to achieve goals and move initiatives forward. And we lost that this year. So I'm really hoping that we can refine those policies, put some things in writing that weren't previously in writing before, and get back to being more productive and working together as a unit. Thank you.
Okay, Matthew?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. How do you plan on promoting more open communication and transparency in the town?
You know, I did run on transparency 3 years ago. Before I got on the board, I got the sense I wasn't getting the whole story. After I got on the board, I got the sense that I wasn't getting the whole story. This is our town, and we have a right to know. We can promote more cooperation between boards by making sure that everybody has access to the same information. You know, if someone is abusing their authority or doing something unethical, the last thing they want is for that information to be made public. And I think educating the public about their right to virtually all the information that's at Town Hall is one of the simplest way to get accountability for our publicly elected representatives. I think that another thing that we need to do, which we have not succeeded at, is fully define the areas of responsibility for the select board and the town administrator and the town employees. I think that there has obviously been a lot of turnover at Town Hall recently. Some of the conversations that I've had with town employees, definitely I get a sense of frustration about a lack of clarity around that. And in fact, we spoke at the last select board meeting about beginning the process of possibly starting a charter commission, which is a government study in a way to examine the form of government we have. But one of the goals of that is to really define, not in a policy way, but in a legal way, the areas of responsibility to make sure that it's clear, that everybody knows, you know, where their lanes are so they can stay in them, and that everybody is willing to move forward, understanding that they have all the information they need and they know what their areas of responsibility are. I believe in transparency with my whole heart. I have asked hard questions. I have the scars to prove it. I will continue to ask the hard questions because I do believe it is, you know, it is the most important thing and also one of the best ways to get people involved so that they don't feel marginalized or belittled or out of the loop when they come to us and want to help.
Thank you. Karen?
I think one of the most important things that the select board can do is get a written code of conduct updated and enacted as soon as possible. That written code of conduct will give clarity to our employees, to our select board, and to all of the residents of what our proper role is and how we're supposed to handle it. It won't do that just for today. It'll do it for tomorrow. It'll do it for the next select board, our members, and the next and the next. And that consistency is key, I think, to having transparency in our select board dealings. I think that on an individual level, the select board can promote transparency by operating in a way that makes us unafraid of having our information that belongs to the residents given to the residents. So if something is, FOIA'd, for example, it's important that we welcome that. FOIA requests are a big part of what I used to do when I was a vice president at a company down in Northern Virginia. And they're a part of everyday life. And what I understand based on FOIA is that it is the people's information, that folks are getting what they are entitled to. And so on an individual level, I will operate in such a way that when information is requested of me, I am more than happy to provide it. I think more coverage by outside entities is going to be welcome. That's why I have talked to the high school about the press club coverage. I think that we can do to a certain extent, we can help with communication out of the town government itself. But I think it's important that we get that outside scrutiny. And so I'm hopeful that not only the press club, but other operations will be springing up in the future to provide that outside scrutiny and that outside coverage of our dealings. So, thank you.